Okay, hi sisters and brothers. Just a quick video here, very quick video on a topic that, though it's a quick video, it's a very important one. And so this is the topic. If I can pull this up here. Give me 1 second. Hopefully it doesn't mess with the camera. Okay, so in we go. It is right here. Okay, so I had issues with the passage that we find in Deuteronomy 4 where it says, make no image, neither male nor female, or any animal that walks or flies. Make no images before you, and yet the world is full of generally male images. So I have, you know, this concern about pursuing the divine aspect of that without making her an image that kind of, in a sense, takes out the male, but we're told not to worship her. That's the key that we have to understand here. But this is the answer that we come up with, and it's a good one. I think it's a good one. So, but it begins with this question: why is it important to understand woman's own divine origins, but yet it doesn't mean that we're creating an image but removing one? Because that's ultimately kind of what it comes down to, taking down this standalone image kind of thing. So, in many traditions and cultures, women have been cast into roles, ideals, and archetypes, often shaped by external forces like religion, media, or patriarchy. These images can be limiting, like the obedient daughter, the nurturing mother, the seductive muse, the self sacrificing saint. And to understand her divine origin, a woman must peel away these imposed layers. They're told to us who we are. We don't tell them who we are, they tell us who we are, right? So divinity isn't a costume or a curated persona. It's essence. It's the raw, unfiltered truth of being. When a woman reconnects with her divine origins, she's not trying to become something. She's remembering what she already is. That remembrance often requires burning away the false images, those that were never hers to begin with. It's like standing before a mirror and realizing the reflection has been painted over. The task isn't to add more paint, it's to scrape it off to see clearly. The divine origin is not a mask, but a mirror of truth. Now it says, would you like to explore this idea through a poem of philosophical reflection? And we're going to do that at the end of this short little video. I thought it was a beautiful little piece of poetry, so I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to share it with you. Um, I had stated that it says to make no image, neither male nor female, or any animal that flies or walks. So, how can we speak of the Creator as female without exalting this image, and this is my concern, in place of the male image? So, this is what it come back with. It says the Creator beyond image. The commandment to make no image, often drawn from texts like Exodus 20, verse 4, or Deuteronomy 4, verses 16 to 18, is not just a prohibition against physical idols. It's a spiritual safeguard against confining the infinite to the finite forms. It warns us not to reduce the divine to something graspable, nameable, or shaped by our projections. This includes male, female, animal, or any likeness. When we speak of the Creator as female, we're not crafting a literal image. We're invoking a dimension of divine reality that has been historically suppressed. The masculine image has dominated theology, iconography, I knew I'd say that wrong, and language for centuries. To speak of the Creator as female is not to replace one idol with another, it's to restore balance, to reclaim what was lost, and to remind ourselves that the divine is not gendered, but contains all. To name the creator as she is not to exalt femininity over masculinity. It's to break the monopoly of the masculine image. It's a poetic and prophetic act of liberation. It's saying the divine is not limited to the Father, the King, the Lord. It is also the mother, the womb, and wisdom. These are not idols. These are metaphors, windows into mystery. We do not mold God with our words. We mirror aspects of the divine that speaks to our soul. When we say she, we are not defining God. We are defying the silence that has erased the feminine from the sacred. It's not about creating a new image. It's about removing the old one's exclusivity. Ultimately, the divine origin is not male or female. It is the source of both. To understand it is to go beyond image, beyond form, beyond even language. But on the way there, we must name what was unnamed, honor what was dishonored, and speak what was silenced. So, would you like me to help you write a poem? So I said, yes. And this is called No Image, Yet All Presence, a meditation on divine origin. And I thought this really encapsulates the entire thought of who God is. We were told, make no image, not of man, nor woman, nor beast that walks or flies. For the infinite cannot be carved, and the eternal cannot be framed. Yet we did. We made him tall, bearded, enthroned. We made her silent, veiled, and erased. We made gods in our likeness and forgot the likeness we were made in. But the command was not to silence the feminine, it was to silence the sculptor, to stop chiseling divinity into stone and start listening to the breath beneath all form. To speak of the Creator as she is not to exalt an image, it is to remove one, to unmask the monopoly of the masculine and let the divine dance again in balance, in mystery, and in truth. She is not a statue. She is the wind that moves the leaves. She is not a face. She is the womb of stars, the whisper in the dark, the wisdom that births worlds. To name her is not to define God. It is to remember the parts of God that we were told to forget. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's a pretty darn good understanding. There is a little bit more to it. If I get the chance, I'm going to write it down because it was a really good study. I just haven't gotten to it yet. So, just a short little video. I'll probably post this on September 23rd because for me, that date, September 23rd, 2025, comes up as 1st of Tishrei. And on September 21, 2017, is when I had the key of David, or I understood what the key of David was. I had been given it the month before, and it wasn't until the 21st of September that I literally hit on what it was saying. And so it was a very important key or keystone. I've been looking at keystones and the architect and designer of this idea of a keystone over the archway. And it really links back to King Solomon's architect, who was from Tyre, it states, and that was in Lebanon. And he created for Solomon this said key stone. So if we think of the stone that gets rejected for a harlot stone, we have two stones in view there, and we actually can source two stones in the Bible from two different locations, and I'm starting to think they actually connect to the 24 gateways in New Jerusalem because we realized early on in our studies, way back on Ruth Abbey, that there's actually 36 gates in New Jerusalem, but 24 are not spoken on. It says every several gate was one of a pearl, so that's 12 gates, but then there's two more gates beside that one of pearl that's not spoken on what they're for. So there's 24 gates there closed up. Well, we can link them to the elders. We can. And those elders were wise women that had their gateway shut off to them. So that's your basic understanding. There's a lot more to it, but it comes back to that. There's the key of Solomon and there's the key of David. These are your keystones in a sense. And so when we look into um, the key of Solomon, it comes back to that keystone that gets placed over this archway, which is an opening, as we know. And it's about illumination, it's about all kinds of interesting detail that they tell us in the world and then tell us that it's not linked to the Bible or the biblical text. It absolutely is. So anyway, there's the short little video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you're all safe. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a lovely day.